right, welcome to another episode of Befuddled and Confused. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. We've actually got a comment on our last video. So, yeah, and share this video. We haven't done this in a while, and it is July 4th, and today we are going to be talking about systemic racism. I gave Liz homework. What was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were going to do this?
Like 2 weeks ago.
I asked her to come up with why systemic racism exists. And please let the audience know what you found.
Well, I've been researching it for over a week, and honestly, I don't understand it. Like, I couldn't really get examples or, whatever I put in to explain exactly what systemic racism is.
Okay.
So, I'm still confused about it. I know they say we have systemic racism in the prisons and court, whatever, but I don't understand it.
So we'll break it down according to my understanding, right? Like systemic racism, first of all, means that there's systems that are racist, and I don't get that. But you've heard of people saying that our judicial system is racially biased, right?
Yes.
And so in general, what have you heard when it pertains to our judicial system being racially biased?
Well, I've heard white people get less time compared to black or Hispanics.
For the same crime, right?
For the same crime.
Okay. So let's break that down further and make it personal. Dude that attacked your family personally, right? You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
How many charges was he arrested on?
4 or 5.
So he was arrested on 4 or 5 charges, and then what happened? He ended up pleading guilty on how many charges?
1.
So, and that's where if you take just averages, right, or not even averages, but if you look at just the general statistics, people are gonna think that the judicial system was biased against him because they only saw that one charge, and he got a higher sentence for that one charge, not knowing he got arrested on the other 4 charges. However, he pleaded down, and so he only got convicted on 1 charge.
Yeah.
And so when people say people of color, I don't know what to say anymore, because now we have BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, so all these different terms, I don't know what to say anymore. Black people, I'm just gonna, how I was raised. Black people, when they get arrested, we don't know what they were arrested for. When white people get arrested, we don't know what they were arrested for. And yes, you can go back and look, but however, if a black person gets arrested and they plead down and they take the sentence for a weed conviction, and a white person only gets arrested for a weed conviction, and they get different times, the whole other arrest can be the difference, and I can skew the statistics where people are black people are unfairly charged in the judicial system, and when you're manipulated with those stats, I can see why people think it's systemically racist.
Yeah, but people don't look at the fact that also when people get sentenced, they go into your history, and if you're a gang member, you get gang enhancement.
Right.
So maybe you might get more time, whereas this other person wasn't part of a gang, so they're going to get less time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now let's go into policing, right? So now the new thing is policing is systemically racist. And shout out to Killer Mike. I heard Killer Mike talk about I think it was his uncle or something was one of the first police officers in Atlanta, when there was only 8 black people. It was hard for people of color to get into policing. However, people are now stating that policing is systemically racist because it comes from the slave police or whatever, because back in the day, and when we had slaves, or when America had slaves, because I never had them, the South and the Northeast, they had certain people that would go out and track down escaped slaves.
Yeah.
And so what they're saying now is that the police come from that time. However, police were around long before that.
Yeah.
Police are in Britain. Police are in Africa. Police are in Russia. Police are in China. So if policing, in its general sense, is racist, so that means every country has racist police?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Because it all comes from slaves in America? It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. That's why I don't understand it.
And so, like, it even goes into our housing market, right? So, in the main bedroom that someone sleeps in, when you sell a house and you're showing a house, what do you call that bedroom?
The master bedroom.
You're not allowed to say that.
Oh, why not?
Because it denotes that the master of the slaves where they sleep. However, and this is where verbiage gets really messed up, because the first time that master bedroom shows up in the English language when it comes to a house was in the 1920s, long after slaves had been freed. So it has nothing to do with slavery.
Yeah.
So like even in real estate, they're saying that the real estate and like their verbiage is systemically racist. They're saying that our education system is systemically racist. They're now saying that I don't know who's saying it, but I heard this recently, that our analytical thinking and education of people is rooted in white supremacy, because in Africa they learn through relationships, and so to teach someone math is teaching them white supremacy and teaching them systemically racist stuff.
Oh God, you're lying.
No, like this stuff is coming through. That's where the CRT is coming through. That's where the 1619 project is coming through. So what's the 1619 project?
I don't know.
So this lady, she wrote the 1619 project, and she won a Nobel Prize for it. And however, after she wrote it, it had been proven, and she had to change some things in it, that it was false. And what she was trying to say is the 1619 project is when America started, because that's when the first slave got here from Africa, and that's when America started. Now, if you know anything about America, today happens to be 4th of July.
Exactly.
Like, when was America official?
1776.
So I think that's like over 150 years, or it's 100, yeah, it's like 157 years after 1619. And so like to pick 1619 as a date and to say that America is systemically racist because of 1619, then we would have to go back to Britain, because like in 1619 we were the colonies of Britain. But then like going back to Britain, that wouldn't be enough, because then like where did Britain come from? And then where did they come from? And then like were the dinosaurs racist? Because like do we have to go all the way back to the dinosaurs? Like how do you pick just 1619? Like even though America isn't formed yet, we're gonna say America started in 1619 and say you're systemically racist.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
It doesn't.
And so you Googled systemic racism, and like what examples did it give you of systemic?
I didn't get any examples. It was just I Googled and clicked on so many different pages, and it just said, was talking about how our judicial system is racist and this is it's systemic racism, but I didn't get an example of it.
And you will never get an example, because if you were to show me a system that is actually racist, like I would fight to change it. However, you have to like compare apples to apples, and that goes back to the judicial system for me, right? Like show me people of color that have been convicted of the exact same crime with no priors, and they get convicted for exactly what they got arrested for, not pleading down, but convicted, and they get actual different sentences, and show me how like that's happening on a wide scale. Like I'm more than willing to fight with you, right? Like show me how our education system is systemically racist when like it's controlled by the left. And I say it's controlled by the left because there is nobody that's in our education system that is allowed to speak any conservative thought. And so if our education system is racist, that would mean Democrats are racist. Yeah. If our judicial system is racist, that would mean Democrats are racist because our judicial system is overrun by left. If our police are racist, well, Republicans are against unions and police officers are all unionized. Yeah. And they back the Democrats. Well, that would mean that the Democrats are racist. Yeah. And they keep saying that Republicans, and I don't want to say that the Democrats are racist. I'm not trying to say that Republicans aren't racist. People are racist. Yeah. Not groups. In my opinion. So with that being said, I do understand systemic racism in one context.
Yeah, what's that?
Medicine.
Okay. I think I know what you're getting at.
What am I getting at?
I think I read something about it the blacks or Hispanic are less prone to get the same medication or the same treatment at a hospital. I read about it.
So yes, that's not what I was getting at, but I have heard that. Mm-hmm. And I think that has to do with insurance, right? Mm-hmm. If you have insurance, people are gonna run up your insurance so they get their money. Mm-hmm. And I was traveling back from Arizona or from Las Vegas a few weeks ago with my assistant's or my boss's assistant, and she is super smart, genius status. I was tripping out. Whoops, I'm bleeding. And we were talking about the LGBT and about the non-binary, and then she got into string theory, and then she got into medicine. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that women take a chance on their life every time they take a medication? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, most medication is only tried out on men.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Because women have too many hormones in them in order to get a true study done. Because you have a lot of hormones going on. You got your ovaries, you got your period, you got all these things that affect women and affect how medicine is gonna affect you. And so even going beyond that, when you go to the races, not the racists, but not the racists, but the races as a ES. If a black person and a white person go in and with the same symptoms, it could be different based upon their race. And you have to treat it differently. However, most medicine has been developed on white people. Mm. And so if it's been developed on white people, that's why black people are misdiagnosed. That's why Hispanics are misdiagnosed. That's why the mortality rate for black women is, in my opinion, right, is higher because it's all been done on white women, white men. So if you want to talk about systemic racism, it's in medicine. Yeah. I can see because it's hard to get a control group.
Well, they need to do their little projects on women. Their little experiments.
But how do you do it on women? Because women get pregnant. Mm-hmm. So you can't do a treatment on a woman and then her get pregnant and then she gets kicked out of the trial.
I don't know.
And that's part of the issue, And then I forget what project it was, but I forget the name of it, but it had to do with black people. They purposely let syphilis run wild in the black community and to see how it affected black men. And many people died. And this happened from 1928 or 1930 to 1968. Oh, wow. That's why there's black hesitancy with this new vaccine that's out. I forget what the project was called, but yeah, it was. Everyone knew what was going on except for black people. So with medicine, yeah, I can see systemic racism. I don't see a way around it. Because if you were to take, let's take a simple one, insulin, right? you get a new insulin out there. I know insulin's been around forever, but you give it to a whole bunch of white people and black people and women and children and Asians and this and that. And then like you find out it affects black people differently than white people, but yet you want to get your medicine to market. You're going to take the black people out of that trial and show that it still works.
Yeah.
Or if it's good for black people, you're going to take the white people out, you know? So I do see systemic racism being driven by profit in the medicine category, but no other category.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Other than that, like people say, oh, well, what about redlining? Like that has to do with systemic racism. Well, that's changed. We don't have redlining anymore. Well, what about people not willing to hire? Like they come up with all these reasons why systemic racism is wrong. Like, show me a law, we'll fight it together. You can't show me a law, then how am I supposed to fight systemic racism?
Yeah.
Because right now, it's being said that all white people are racist. It's also being said that if you deny that you're a racist, that proves that you're a racist. The only way to get around being a racist is to admit that you're racist, which makes no sense.
No.
So what do we do?
So only white people are racist?
Supposedly. And they say that it's because white people have the power. Well, does that mean from 2008 to 2016 only black people could be racist because Obama was in charge?
Yeah.
What about Oprah Winfrey? What about LeBron James? What about Michael Jackson? What about, like, I could go on, Dennis Rodman, like, like how many people, like Kevin Hart, right? Like, don't tell me it's because you're in power. Like, you're racist if you're racist, if it's in your heart.
Exactly. You're racist whether you're black, white, Hispanic, because I've met plenty of people that are racist that are not white.
Right. Yeah. And like even on the new applications, right? Like what does it say under Hispanic?
I don't know, but
there's two different categories, right?
There is. I actually filled out an application not too long ago where I don't know, it was race, but I didn't get the option of choosing Hispanic under race. I had to choose white because they had Pacific Islander, all these things, Asian, but nothing for me to choose except white.
And not
so
only
I
that,
chose
but
white.
when they do have Hispanic, they also say Hispanic non-white, which means there's also Hispanic white, which is confusing. And then now Biden is getting in trouble for using the term Latinx.
I don't like those new terms.
Right. So, and this is going off on a little tangent. I don't think we've talked about this, but how do you tell a whole culture that their language is sexist? Because that's what you're doing when you change it to Latinx. Yeah. Because La Biblioteca, like I'm white, I can't say La Biblioteca, like library is feminine. Yeah. Right. Cucharo, like what's that, spoon or cuchara?
No.
Well, how do you say spoon?
Cuchara.
How do you say spoon?
Cuchara.
Cuchara. Cuchara is feminine, right?
There's no N in there. Cuchara.
Cuchara. Well, that's female, right?
I guess you could say that, but it's not really. Spanish to English and English to Spanish can translate differently, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Right. I like there's masculine and female. And it's with the Jewish language. It's with a lot of different languages. Like how dare we try and change your language? Yeah. Because us white people, because it's not the Hispanics, it's not the Mexicans, it's not the Spaniards, it's not the Brazilians that are claiming that you can't be called Latino. Yeah. Although you don't want to be called Latino.
No, I'm Hispanic.
You're Hispanic. Not even Hispanic. You're Mexican.
I'm Mexican American.
You're American with Mexican descent. Yeah. So hopefully this gives us some insight. We had a comment about our last one with Trump, or not Trump, but about our war with China, and they said yes, China might have more warships, but we have better technology. We have more proven soldiers, which is great to hear. That someone commented, and like I'm always up to learn. So like if you have any specific laws, specific scenario, not even scenarios, but like proof of systemic racism, please let us know. Like, we're willing to learn. This is to be educated for us. So Liz will be picking a topic for our next discussion that she's pro on, and I will find all the cons. I will do better research than her. 'Cause I'm very competitive, and I want to prove that I can find the opposite. So we'll keep you up to date.